Before Canada was even a country, this brewery existed. Hundreds of North American breweries disappeared, but this one just kept on going. Moosehead, Canada's oldest independent brewery.
That's Moosehead.
What is up, friends? Welcome back to the Treehouse Brewing Company YouTube channel, where today we are taking a look at a very requested beer out of Canada. That's right, Moosehead. This beer's been in existence for 150 years, leading up to this magic moment where we give you the history, give it a taste, and let you know what we think. All right, guys, so first, a little bit of background. Moosehead was founded in 1867, the same year Canada officially became a country. But the real story doesn't start in St. John. It starts across the harbor in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. That's right, in a kitchen. In 1867, Susanna Oland, an English immigrant, began brewing beer at home. She had learned to brew from her mother in England, and what started as small batches for the family and friends quickly turned into something much bigger. Interesting. Sounds familiar. Demand grew, and that home operation became the Turtle Grove Brewery. In the 1860s, women were not commonly running industrial businesses like breweries, but after her husband died in 1870, Susanna did not step away. She actually continued leading and expanding the brewery with her sons. That family backbone is the lifeblood of this entire story. After an explosion destroyed the Dartmouth Brewery in 1877, the Oland family eventually reestablished operations in St. John, New Brunswick in 1887. Over time, that operation evolved into what we know as Moosehead Brewery. Moosehead has remained family-owned for over 150 years. That's right, nothing in common with other macro lagers that we've looked at in the channel. No buyouts, no mergers, no selling out to multinational beer giants. Through wars, prohibition, economic crashes, massive industry consolidation, the Oland family kept it real, kept it in the family, and kept it going. As is so common in these stories, though, Prohibition struck Canada in 1918. During this time, the brewery pivoted in different ways: near beer, soft drinks, ice production, who knows what else. Because of all that work during Prohibition, they found themselves lined up beautifully when they came out of Prohibition, because a lot of their competitors didn't return, and they returned more powerful than ever. Now, the name Moosehead didn't officially appear until 1907, inspired by, you guessed it, a moose head mounted on the wall within the brewery. This is their flagship lager. It's said to be crisp, clean, it's brewed with Canadian barley, spring water, and interestingly, European hops. Moosehead really became a huge deal in the United States during the 1970s when Americans were suddenly inspired by and wanted imported beer. And Moosehead was a cheap, clean, easy way to find it. Moosehead actually became the best-selling imported beer in many parts of the Northeast United States and was exporting more beer to the United States than any other Canadian brewery at the time. All right, now here's where the story gets a little weird, guys.
Multimillionaire Richard Oland was found face down in a pool of blood in his St. John office.
So in 2011, the family actually made national headlines after the mysterious death of Richard Oland, a prominent member of the family and former Moosehead executive. His son, Dennis, had actually been convicted and charged in 2015. That conviction was overturned on appeal in 2016, and after retrial in 2019, Dennis was completely acquitted.
A judge in New Brunswick has found Dennis Oland not guilty of murdering his father. The death of Richard Oland.
The case in Canada drew significant media attention, and it actually didn't affect the brewery's ownership or any of the ongoing operations. So Moosehead's an interesting brand. They've never brewed outside of Canada. All beers still brewed in St. John and shipped mainly south to the United States, with smaller volumes going to the international market. Moosehead has remained and stayed quietly consistent. They've modernized a lot of equipment, they've expanded their capacity, but they've never really abandoned their core identity by remaining in the family. In recent years, they've experimented more, limited releases, seasonal beers, small nods toward craft, but always with restraint, keeping it true to their original Moosehead intent. Moosehead is proof that longevity is the brand. A brewery born the same year as Canada, still independent, still family run, still brewing in the same city for well over a century. Pretty legit, pretty authentic. But the question is, does this stubborn history translate into the glass into something that stands above its regional and national counterparts? Let's dive in. All right, interesting history to Moosehead. It's, every time we dive into and we research the history of these beers, It's always kind of interesting to learn about them. And one of the coolest things to me about Moosehead is that it's very much remained in the family through generations and generations, legitimately without changing hands. And more often than not, the experience that we've had is that does translate into a beer that's better. Let's see if that's actually the case. Now, as I so often do on the channel, I like to comment on the design of the can. I have to tell you, in terms of like can sexiness, we're in the top 3 for Moosehead. Beautiful forest green color, gold accents. I love the gold lid. I love the illustration of the moose on the cover. Canadian lager, got the Canadian maple leaf there on the front. One of my favorite things about this and looking at it before the video is actually the little blurb that they have here on the back. At Treehouse, we really love and appreciate copy and representing ourselves with intent and purpose. And so I really enjoyed what it says here. It says, "This Canadian lager is dedicated to those who have the courage to turn obstacles into opportunities and the passion that makes a hard day's work so rewarding." Awesome. All right, there it is. Made in St. John, Canada. Product of Canada, imported to the United States. I don't see, oh, there it is. 5% alcohol by volume. It's just described as a Canadian lager. All right, let's see what we got. Michael, where did we get this?
6-pack in the cooler at Ted's.
6-pack in the cooler at Ted's. Not a meaningful date code on there, I don't think. Notable because it's in a can. Every time we talk about a green bottle or a green beer tasting, everyone's like, you gotta try Moosehead. And ironically, the second time we're trying it on the channel, it comes in a can. Beautiful pour in the glass, golden yellow color. I would say it's a smidge or two darker than we're accustomed to seeing on the channel. Beautiful foam, A+ appearance in the glass. I do often like when it has that slightly orange character versus the very, very clear yellow. It looks a bit hardier than what we're accustomed to for a macro lager on the channel. So on the aroma, oh baby, crisp and clean. Hey, I love you guys. If you guys leave your thoughts and comments down below. We do know that 70% of people who are watching don't subscribe, so subscribing is a huge help, as is liking the video and leaving your thoughts. We know we have a lot of lurkers out there, guys. Don't be shy, leave your thoughts. I'm giving you my thoughts, you give me yours. Beautiful aroma, mild malt character, mild hop, not super expressive, but clean. Clean fermentation character. I'm not getting a lot of fruitiness on the nose, just clean lager expression on the flavor. Oh yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's solid. Crispy. You guys know that I like a crispy beer. Not a lot of sweetness. Little bit of bitterness. Little bit of hop character in there. Really crisp and clean. Wow. Loving it. Little bit of apple character early in the sip, but it doesn't present as like a finishing sweetness, which I really appreciate. Beautiful foam retention. You guys can see that foam retaining on the glass. Really, really nice appearance to the beer. Really, really crisp flavor. And frankly, you know, we should probably start doing the thing, Michael, where it's like A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier.
My question for you is, in your memory, how does this stack up to Molson and Labatt?
I do recall enjoying both of those beers, and I do know that we kind of have generated a list that's... Schaefer I liked recently. Schaefer was a little bit sweeter than this though. This has that dry crispness that I'm like all about. This is an S tier macro lager. Family owned throughout the generations. Super, super crisp, expressive hop character. How much did it cost?
It was $9.99 for the 6-pack.
So a little bit pricier than your average macro lager.
Tariffs.
Oh, why do you think of that? One thing worth keeping in mind is that I am drinking this in a can. A can is a better vessel than a green bottle. 100 out of 100 times. I don't recall what my impression of this beer was, but I do recall being up on the tanks, having this in a blind tasting. Michael, roll the footage. Moving on to number 5. Okay, sweet, mild hop, a little bit of apple. Moosehead Lager, okay? Cool. I do think that green bottles often are to the detriment of a beer. This beer coming in a can is a great call by Moosehead. If you do like an approachable, easy drinking, readily available macro lager, I can heartily recommend you grab a 6-pack of Moosehead next time you're in your local packy. And more importantly, the next time you find yourself in the Northeast, you should pop into one of your favorite Treehouse locations in Boston, Charlton, Deerfield, Sandwich, Saratoga, Tewksbury, or Woodstock, because we would love to have you. That's all for today, guys. That's Moosehead Lager. We had a good time today. We had a good beer. We had a good family history. Light up the comments. See you next time.